Welcome all to today's deliberation and discussion on whether annual return of 2018-19 should be containing details of transaction of 17-18 which have been reported in GSTR 3B of 2018-19. As we all know that there was a clarification and a press release from CBIC for the annual returns of 2017-18 that the base document for preparation of GSTR 9 should be GSTR 3B. And it was also good for the GSTR 9 of 17-18 since 2017-18 was the first year for implementation of GST, and the GSTR 3B of 17-18 only contained details of transaction of 17-18. But as we have moved to the next year for filing of GSTR 9, now the GSTR 3B of 2018-19 is containing details of both transaction of 17-18 which have been reported in 18-19 as well as transaction of 18-19 which have been reported in GSTR 3B of 18-19. So now the base of the contention is we know that annual return has to be filed on the basis of GSTR 3B, but whether the transactions of 17-18 which have been reported in GSTR 3B of 18-19 should be forming part of GSTR 9 of 2018-19. So the first point for discussion is why this controversy. The first thing which we have to admit that present format of GSTR 9 is not well equipped to address the issues which the taxpayers would be facing while filing GSTR 9 of 2018-19. So first thing, let's discuss why this controversy. This is a brief outline of how GSTR 3B of a taxpayer might have been filed for 2018-19. There are two parts for GSTR 3B. One is reporting of outward liabilities and second is claiming of ITC. So supposedly the gross liability which has been shown in GSTR 3B of 18-19 is 150 rupees. Out of that 150 rupees, rupees 100 pertains to outward supplies of 18-19 which have been reported in GSTR 3B of 18-19. Rest 50 rupees is outward supplies of 17-18 which have been reported in GSTR 3B of 18-19. So therefore 150 consists of two parts: supplies of 18-19 reported in GSTR 3B of 18-19 and rupees 50 supplies of 17-18 reported in GSTR 3B of 18-19. The second part is ITC to be claimed by the taxpayers. Now supposedly if 140 rupees have been claimed as ITC, this has also been divided into two parts. First, rupees 90 which is ITC pertaining to 18-19 and claimed in the returns of GSTR 3B for 18-19. Second, rupees 50 which is ITC of 17-18 which has been claimed in GSTR 3B of 18-19 since there was an extended time limit to claim ITC till returns of March 2019. So here also rupees 140 of ITC pertains to part ITC of 18-19 claimed in 18-19 and rupees 50 ITC of 17-18 claimed in 18-19. And the net tax paid is rupees 10, that is 150 minus 140, 10 rupees tax paid. Now this outward supplies of 17-18 which have been declared in 3B of 18-19 have already been reported in table 10 of GSTR 9 of 17-18. And this ITC of 17-18 which has been claimed in GSTR 3B of 18-19 has already been reported in table 13 of GSTR 9. Now the question is whether, since this output liability of 17-18 and ITC of 17-18 is forming part of 3B of 18-19, whether they need to be reported in GSTR 9 of 1819. There is no question regarding reporting of supplies of 1819 which has been duly reported in 3B of 1819. They would be reflected in table 4. This 100 rupees would be reflected in table 4 of 1819. And this rupees 90 ITC which pertains to 1819 and which has been claimed in 3B of 1819 would be reported in table 6. The question only pertains to this 50 rupees outward supplies which has already been reported in table 10 of GSTR 9, whether they are required to be again reported in GSTR 9 of 1819, and this ITC of 50 rupees which has already been reported in table 13 of GSTR 9, whether it needs to be reported again in table 6 of GSTR 9. So this is the entire controversy is only related to the tax or ITC which has been shown in GSTR 3B of 1819, but it pertains to 1718. The next question is whether instructions to GSTR 9 helps us. कि ठीक है ये controversy है, but whether the instructions are self-sufficient to help the taxpayers to resolve this controversy. Coming to the instruction 2 of GSTR 9. It says it is mandatory to file all form GSTR 1 and 3B for the financial year for which return is being filed for before filing this return. This is the first clarification कि if you want to file an annual return, all GSTR 1 and 3B have to be filed. And for financial year 17-18, the details for the period between July 17 to March 18 are to be provided in this return. Now the instruction moves ahead and only refers to 17-18. It does not refers to 18-19 at all. Although it is clear that for filing of 18-19, the 1 and 3B of 18-19 have to be filed first, then only GSTR 9 would be filed. But why the restriction only refers to 17-18? It should also refer to 18-19, or the reference only to 17-18 should not be there. Now coming to instruction 3. It says part 2 of GST 9 consists of details of all outward supplies and advances received during the financial year for which the annual return is filed. For 17-18, it may be noted that all the supplies for which payment has been made through Form 3B between July 17 to March 18 shall be declared in this part. So again, the GSTR 9 is only referring to transactions for financial year 17-18 and all the supplies for which payment has been made through 3B between July 17 to March 18 are to be declared in part 2. There is no reference to 2018-19, it only refers to 2017-18. So this part also does not help us in resolving the situation that whether the transactions of 17-18 reported in 18-19 or 3B are to be forming part of GSTR 9 of 18-19. Coming to the next part of instruction 3, it says it may be noted that additional liability for 17-18 or 18-19 not declared in GSTR 1 and 3B may be declared in this return. However, taxpayers cannot claim input tax credit unclaimed during financial year 17-18 through this return. Again, in one set of instruction they are covering 18-19, but going ahead in the another part of instruction they are again ignoring 18-19. So on a holistic reading of instruction 2 and instruction 3, both the instructions are covering details of 17-18 but are not referring to 18-19. Although it is admitted that 17-18 mention was required since it was the first year of GST and taxpayer had to have some clarity about how to file GSTR 9. On the same ground, 18-19 is also an exceptional year because this was the first annual return which would be covering details of transactions of previous year. and it requires clarification from the government that how the transactions of previous year forming part of 3B of next year are to be reported in annual return for that particular year. Once we move to 1920 and the years ahead, the benchmark which has been placed in 1819 would be helping the taxpayers in filing the subsequent returns, but the instructions, if they are referring to 1718, since it was an exceptional year, 1819 also stands on the same footing that it is an exceptional year, because it would be the first annual return which would be filed on the basis of 3B, which would be having details of 2 years, that is 1718 and 1819. Therefore, whatever discussion we are having after this slide, and irrespective of what we conclude, there is a dire need to clarify this thing by the government, and the press release or the clarification should be made immediately by the government, so that there is a uniformity on how the transactions are being reported in GSTR 9. So now, until the government comes with a clarification, the next question is, how do we reach to a harmonious conclusion? Until the government comes out with clarification, we have to move ahead and prepare for the returns. And how do we make a rationale on the basis of which we would be preparing to file the annual return? And this presentation would only be covering whether those transactions of 1718 which have been reported in 3B of 1819 are to be forming part of GSTR 9 of 1819. At the outset, one thing is clear, that form cannot prevail over the rules and the legislation. Ultimately, what would prevail is the rules and the legislation. The form cannot override it. So whatever conclusion we should be reaching, it should be based upon the relevant provisions of the GST Act and the rules made thereunder. The first thing, GSTR 9 relevant headings. The part 2 says details of outward and inward supplies made during the financial year. Part 3 says details of ITC for the financial year. Part 5 says for 2018-19 particulars of the transactions for FY 18-19 declared in returns between April 19 till September 19. So GSTR 9 itself is dividing the entire reporting in three parts. First is the reporting made between April 18 to March 19 relating to outward supplies in part 2. Second is details of ITC between April 18 to March 19, and the third is the leftover transactions of 18-19 which have been declared in the returns between April 19 till September 19. So the form itself provides that part 2 and part 3 would be the transactions which have been reported during the year 18-19, and part 5 would be the transactions which have been spilled over and reported in the returns between April 19 to September 19. For simplicity, I am not discussing about the additional liability which has to be reported in table 4. I am only concentrating on two parts. One is the transaction which have been reported in 3B of 1819, and second, transaction which have spilled over to next year have been reported in returns for April 19 to September 19. Thereby, we can see that even though those transactions have been reported in subsequent returns, but still the annual return is considering them the part of 1819 annual return. It is not considering the ITC or the output which has been reported in subsequent returns of April 19 to September 19 to be the transactions of subsequent annual return, it is still being treated as transactions relevant for annual return of 1819. And on a similar footing, what we can say is transactions of 1718 which have been reported in 1819 but which have formed part of table 10, 11, 12, 13 of annual return of 1718 have been treated as part of annual return of 1718 GSTR 9 of 1718. So one thing is clear, as per the form, what we can say is although the transactions of 1718 might have been reported in 1819 or transactions of 1819 might have been reported in returns of 1920, but for the purpose of GSTR 9 they are still treated part of that particular financial year irrespective of when they have been reported. Further adding to what was said in previous slide, if the transactions reported for a particular financial year in next year 3B would not considered as transactions of that relevant financial year in which they were actually made, then table 10, 11, 12, 13 would not have formed part of the annual return. Annual return would have simply been based upon 3B filed for that year, and table 4, 5 and 6 and 7 would only have formed part of the annual return. There would have been no requirement for 10, 11, 12, 13 since the tax has been paid in next financial year, therefore they should have been included in the next financial year. अगर ऐसा होता कि जिस साल टैक्स पे किया है उसी साल के एनुअल रिटर्न में वो ट्रांजैक्शन रिपोर्ट होने हैं तो शायद टेबल 10, 11, 12, 13 की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती, बट table 10, 12, 10, 11, 12, 13 have been made part of annual return only to provide that even if the tax has been paid in subsequent financial year, still those transactions are being considered of the relevant financial year in which they were undertaken. And once a transaction of say 1718, even though tax has been paid in 1819, has been made part of annual return of 1718, it should not form part of 1819, otherwise there will be double reporting of the same transaction. One in table 10 of 1718, that is outward liability paid in next year, and second it would be forming part of table 4 of 1819, that is tax paid in current year, even though the supply was pertaining to 1718. Therefore, whatever it has been reported in 10, 11, 12, 13 tables of a particular annual return, these transactions are integral part of that year even though tax has been paid in next financial year, and reporting of 10, 11, 10, 13 table in GSTR 9 is based upon the various time limits which has been given in section 37, section 39 and section 16(4), which allows a taxpayer either to correct the GSTR 1 or to correct GSTR 3B or to claim input tax credit pertaining to a particular financial year even till the month of September of next financial year or till the filing of relevant annual return, whichever is earlier. तो जो टेबल 10, 11, 12, 13 है, they are gaining their relevance from provisions of section 37, 39 and section 16(4), which is giving them the legal backing that even though those transactions are reported till September, since the lawmakers have given some additional time, but only because these transactions have been given some additional time to be reported, they do not become transaction of next financial year. Since they are still a transaction of previous financial year, only leeway or a benefit is given for them to be reported till September of the next financial year or relevant annual return, whichever is earlier. And even if we see the relevant time limits, they are all starting from the end of the financial year to the September following the end of the financial year. So even the time limits are starting from the financial year for section 37, 39 and 16(4). The principle and the rationale is clear कि even though they are being corrected or reported or availed in next financial year, still they are integrally part of the previous financial year. That's why their reporting, correction or availment till September of next financial year are to be reported in 10, 11, 12, 13 of a relevant financial year, because only then the reporting would be completing itself for the entire financial year. That is table 4 and table 6, outward liability and ITC reported in the 3B of the relevant financial years, and table 10, 11, 12, 13 outward liabilities or ITC claimed pertaining to the previous financial year but in subsequent financial year. So only the reporting part is in the next year, but still they are pertaining to the previous year, and that is amply clear with the provisions of section 37, 39 and 16(4), which is allowing the correction, the availment or reporting of transactions of previous financial year to the September following the end of that financial year, or the relevant annual return, whichever is earlier. So the provisions also make it clear that only reporting is in the next year, but the actual relevance is the financial year in which the transactions took place. Now coming to section 73, which allows the proper officer to issue the order under subsection 9 within 3 years from the due date of furnishing of annual return for the financial year to which the tax not paid or short paid or ITC wrongly availed or utilized relates. Now let's take an example. Okay, I have a supply of say rupees 1000 जो मेरा 17-18 से related था, but I failed to report in 17-18, but I reported in GSTR 3B of 18-19, and I also reported the transaction in GSTR 9 of 17-18 in table 10. Now, if a officer finds that tax on that transaction has been short paid, supposedly I have paid tax only at the rate of 12%, but they found that the tax should have been paid at the rate of 18%. Now, whether that this time limit should be starting from annual return of 17-18 or annual return of 18-19. If we see that it says 3 years from the due date of furnishing of annual return for which for the financial year to which the tax paid or not paid relates. Even though I have disclosed the transaction in GSTR 3B of 18-19, but still the transaction for which the tax has been short paid relates to financial year 17-18. Merely because I have paid the tax in GSTR 3B, it would not become transaction for the financial year 18-19. Supposedly, I have wrongly availed the ITC. The transaction was in 17-18, but I availed the ITC in GSTR 3B of 18-19 by virtue of provision of 16(4), and the department finds that the ITC has been wrongly availed. The transaction of ITC was of 17-18. It was reported in GSTR 3B of 18-19. It was reported in table 13 of 17-18. Now that ITC is found to be wrongly availed. The question is whether merely it was reported in 18-19, it would become the ITC for the financial year 18-19, No, it is still relating to financial year 17-18. Only thing is it is reported in 3B of 18-19, but it has been duly reported in table 13 of 17-18. So the 3 years from the due date of furnishing of annual return for which annual return for the financial year to which the ITC wrongly availed relates is still 17-18, and the 3 years would be starting from the due date of furnishing of annual return of 17-18, not 18-19, merely because it has been paid in 18-19. And since that transaction has become part of table 13 of annual return of 17-18, it is not required to be made part again of 18-19. Otherwise, if I am reporting it in again in 18-19, first I would be somewhere admitting that it is a transaction for financial year 18-19, which it is not. It is actually a transaction of 17-18 merely due to the extended time limit benefit given by virtue of section 16(4). It has been reported in 3B of 18-19. Similarly, in section 74, the only difference is the period in section 73 was 3 years, it is 5 years in 74. The similar language is here. The proper officer shall issue the order under subsection 9 within a period of 5 years from the due date for furnishing of annual return for the financial year to which the tax paid or short paid or input tax rate wrongly availed or utilized relates to. So whatever is my tax not paid, or whatever is my tax short paid, or whatever my ITC wrongly availed, or whatever ITC wrongly utilized, even though it is reported in 18-19 but it does not relates to 18-19, it is still related to 17-18. And once I relate it to 17-18, I report it in 17-18, I would not be reporting it again in 18-19. I would only be reporting figures of 18-19 in my GSTR 9. I would not be reporting figures of 17-18 in GSTR 9 of 18-19, even though they may have been reported in GSTR 3B of 18-19. Take another case. Supposedly, say GST department comes for an audit of 17-18, and I provide them my annual return. They check the entire annual return of 17-18. They get the audit done and prepare the report and submit the report. Again in 18-19, my case is selected for GST audit. They would be coming again. They would be verifying records, but whether they would be having power to investigate those transactions which were related to 17-18 reported in GSTR 3B of 18-19 merely because they were reported in 18-19. Once those transactions have already formed part of GSTR 9 of 17-18, in my view, they would not be having any power when they are coming for verification or GST audit of 18-19. They would only be concentrating on the transactions which were pertaining to 18-19, irrespective when they were reported in 3B. If they were reported in subsequent 3B of financial year, they would be checking whether they were reported within the time limit as prescribed under 16(4), 37 or 39. And that's why they would be treating those transactions even though reported in subsequent returns, but transactions of the financial year in which they actually took place. Another case, if I've reported a transaction of 17-18 supposedly saying GSTR 9 and 9C, and if I again make them part of GSTR 9 of 18-19, whether I would be required to report again in 9C of those transactions which have previously reported in 1718. No, I should not be, because I have formed my opinion. I have reported those transactions in 1718. I cannot be made to report on the same transactions again in 1819 merely because they were reported in 3B of 1819. They were reported in 3B of 1819 because the law gave me the benefit. Law did not say that since we are giving you the benefit, these transactions would become part of the next financial year. Law said that we are giving you the benefit of reporting these transactions net in next financial year, but up to a certain time limit, with a rider that beyond that time limit you can not exercise that right. And that's why, since it is a benefit given me to up to a certain time limit, that transaction will have its relevance in the financial year in which it took place rather than in which it was reported. Had it been the intention of the legislature that it should be made part of the next financial year, then there would have been no time limit, because whenever I would have reported, they would have formed part of that year. So as an auditor also, if I see a transaction of 1718 has been reported in 1718, it has formed part of 9C of 1718. If I am reporting it again in 1819, if I am of GST 9 of 1819, if I am again making it part of 9C of 1819, then I am giving my opinion twice on the same subject. And supposedly, if the auditors are two different auditors for 1718 and 1819, and the auditor in 1819 comes to a different opinion that the credit is not allowed of the transactions which were happened in 1718 but reported in 1819 on account of say 17.5 block credit. So what happens to the reporting made in 1718 when the previous auditor said that it is allowed and made part of their report? It would be dual reporting of the same transaction, and law never intend to do so, because the extended time limit of reporting is only a benefit given, but actually they have always been treated of the part of the financial year in which the transaction actually took place. So with this background and rationale, in my opinion, once a transaction has been made part of the previous financial year annual return by virtue of tables 10, 11, 12, 13, read with section 16.4, section 39, 37, on account of extended time given for reporting, they would not be forming part of annual return of next year, even though they might have been reported through 3B of next financial year. It further fortifies or gains relevance from the provision of section 73 and 74, because it starts its time limit from the annual return of the financial year and relates it with the financial year to which the tax paid, short tax not paid, short paid, ITC wrongly availed or utilized relates to. So the key words are for the financial year to which the tax not paid, short paid or ITC wrongly availed or utilized relates. So if a transaction is happening in 1718, even if the tax has not been paid, or it has been short paid, or ITC has been wrongly availed or utilized, it will always be related to 1718, and its time rate would also always be starting from the due date of furnishing of annual return for 1718, irrespective when I have reported it in my GSTR 3B. Concluding today's deliberation, table 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 of GSTR 9 of 2018-19 should only contain figures of 18-19 and not figures of 17-18 which have been reported in GSTR 3B of 18-19. This might result in some unreconciled figures in some tables, but then we can provide the reconciliation as and when required. But the rationale has to be that table 4 would be containing outward supplies of 18-19 only. Table 5 would be containing details of outward supplies of 18-19 only. Table 6A, although it would be auto-populating, containing ITC of both 17-18 and 18-19, but the bifurcation or the details would be provided only for ITC pertaining to 18-19 and not for ITC pertaining to 17-18, which was claimed in GSTR 3B of 18-19. The reversals would also be only related to 18-19, and on the basis of figures which have been provided in table 6, table 8B and 8B would be auto-populated. Table 8C would be containing details of ITC of 18-19 which have been taken in 1920, and 8E and 8F would be containing details of ITC available but not availed or not availed due to ineligible, on account of being ineligible, pertaining to details of 18-19 only. Table 10, 11, 12, 13 would be containing details of outward supplies or ITC which has been claimed or reversed or reported or reduced in returns of 1920 pertaining to 18-19. And on that basis, the figures in GSTR 9C would be reconciled from the books of accounts of 18-19. Another thing, GSTR 9C also itself starts from the turnover or ITC as per books of accounts in 18-19. So when we are reporting figures of 18-19 in GSTR 9, it would be reconciled in 9C with the books of accounts of 18-19, and thereby both 9 and 9C would be matching with the similar figures of books of accounts pertaining to the financial year 18-19. And as we said at the outset that return is not prepared or drafted as required for 18-19. The format required some changes, but those changes have not been made, so we have to arrive at a rationale, and that rationale has to be followed all across 9 and 9C until the government comes out with the clarification. Thank you for being with us in this video of how or whether the transactions of 17-18 reported in GSTR 3B of 18-19 would be forming part of annual return of 18-19. This is again my opinion on the basis of harmonious interpretation of various provisions of the law and the form, and it would be better and beneficial for all the taxpayers that CBC comes with the clarification at the earliest, so that there may be uniformity in reporting of transactions in GSTR 9 of 18-19. Thank you very much, and looking forward to meet you in the next celebrations. If you like our channel, do like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel, and visit our website www.gst-online.com. Thank you very much.